the land that we reside on belonged to the Indians. But we take that for granted. So, let's get down to work. We got a story to tell, a good story.
Today's topic is going to be called The Conquerors, all right, based on Columbus, the devil, with his devilish day tomorrow, all right. And we're going to start with Deuteronomy 33 and verse 13. We're going to start with the history of how the so-called Hispanics or Ephraim got over here. We're going to start with that. Alright. Yeah. Alright. Deuteronomy 33 verse 13.
Deuteronomy chapter 33 verse 13.
So it's important that those of you who are Northern Kingdom, y'all know this, memorize this, to show y'all got over here. Alright, go ahead.
And of Joseph he said, Blessed of the Lord be his land, for precious things of heaven, for the dew and for the deep that coucheth beneath.
So the Most High blessed Joseph. Who is Joseph in this context?
This is the two tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim.
Very good. The father of, say it again, say it louder.
Manasseh and Ephraim.
Very good. This is Jacob's sons, Joseph. He had two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh. It's pertaining to his two sons. Alright, Joseph. Read again.
And of Joseph he said, Blessed of the Lord be his land, for the precious things of heaven, for the dew and for the deep that coucheth beneath.
So the Most High blessed this land that Ephraim and Manasseh, the northern kingdom, was going to have. Particularly these two. Alright, read on. Just jump down to verse 17. To the point.
Verse 17. His glory is like the firstling of his bullock.
Meaning he has strength. Go ahead.
And his horns are like the horns of unicorns.
Same thing.
With them he shall push the people to the ends of the earth.
Read again.
With them he shall push the people together to the ends of the earth.
So with them, these two, Ephraim and Manasseh, he will use them to push the northern kingdom to the ends of the earth. Which end of the earth? This one. This side. Go ahead.
And they are the 10,000s of Ephraim, and they are the thousands of Manasseh.
So they are the 10,000. The they is the 10,000s of Ephraim, because Ephraim was blessed, all right, above his brother Manasseh, even though he's the youngest. So it's the 10,000s of Ephraim, and it's the thousands of Manasseh. These are going to be the top ones that are going to lead the northern kingdom to this side of the hemisphere. They were the top ones, all right. Ephraim top first and foremost. Now it's the second. This is 13. So these two are the ones that led them over here. Alright? Led the charge. Second Ezra 13, verse 40, yeah? Remember it said in Deuteronomy 33, to the ends of the earth. Alright? I didn't bring that book, I should have brought it. About lost tribes and promised lands. Why is that word plural? Why not promised land? Kalel. Why is it that book called Lost Tribes and Promised Lands? Plural. This is simple.
Because the lands that were promised to the Israelites, first and foremost, is Jerusalem. Then it's North Central and South America and Caribbean islands.
That's why it was called Lost Tribes and Promised Lands. Because this land was promised to us also, not just Jerusalem. That's why in Deuteronomy 33 he said to the ends of the earth. This land was already belonged to us from the beginning when no one was over here. Okay?
Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoner out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanasseh the king of Assyria led away captive. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land.
So during this time, there was 10 tribes. You include Dan. Later on, Dan came over here. They assimilated into the rest of them, because a lot of them were warlike. They were very, very brutal and vicious over here. Dan. So they started fighting amongst. They were fighting the Spaniards, and the Spaniards. They were among the Lower Antilles, the Bahamas, and Lesser Antilles. They were in that area. All right, and they were fighting amongst. They were fighting the French. And the French started killing them over and over again. So a lot of them chose to kill themselves, or they fled. All right. So a lot of them ended up fleeing into the other tribes, and they mixed around with them. There's very few of them around. They're around, but they're no longer a tribe. All right. They're still around. They're in the midst of us. They're no longer a tribe. All right. We'll get that later. Go ahead.
But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt.
So during the time of Hosea the king, they were led away captive into Assyria. Then, in the midst of their captivity, they decided, we're going to leave. Read the part again.
But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen.
They were going to leave those lands that were scattered. They were replaced by Shalmaneser the king. Go ahead.
And go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt.
Whenever mankind dwelled, stayed, or lived. Alright? So now, when was this counsel taken? At what point in time? They said, let's just leave, let's just go, I'm bored. Joel.
The council took during the time of Cyrus, king of Persia.
Yeah. Everybody can hear you online too.
The council took place during the time of 489 BC, during the reign of Cyrus, the king of Persia.
Very good. That's when they got liberty. That's when all Israel was given liberty to return to their lands. Alright? To return to Jerusalem. But the northern kingdom, it was not coming to Jerusalem. They had, that beef was still with us. So we're not going to go to Jerusalem. We're going to go to that land that was promised to us during what time? What scripture? During Gedaliah.
Deuteronomy chapter 33 verse 8.
Very good. That's where they said we're going to go. But they knew, Moses told them there's a land where never mankind dwelt. You're going to go over there in the future. Deuteronomy 33. Alright, read on. 42.
That they might keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land.
So, because why? Because the Most High sent Shalmaneser against them for breaking the laws when they was in Samaria, in their land. Alright? So they said, we're going to keep the commandments in the land where never mankind dwelt. That was promised to us through Moses. We'll keep the laws over there. But then guess what they decided to do? They decided to do the same thing over here that they were doing over there. So the Most High said, okay, I'm going to send Hispanics against you. I'm going to send a worse nation against you now. Go ahead.
And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow passage of the river.
So they entered into the Euphrates River. Go ahead.
For the Most High then showed signs for them.
Now, the Most High showed signs for them. Why do you need to show signs to them for? That'd be up. Why? The question is, why do you need to show them signs? Why?
To navigate here.
Thank you. Because they didn't come over here before. They had to show them signs of how to get over here. That's why it says mankind never dwelt. And some say that Solomon came over here before. That's all speculation. I ain't going to go off of that. I'm going to go with the scriptures say. It says
there is no proof of that.
There is no proof of that.
No. Because it would be a lie if it says never mankind dwelt here. The Bible will be contradicting itself. Mm-hmm. But people are going to push that Solomon because he had the fleet of ships that he was doing. Y'all remember he had a navy. Mm-hmm. So people just assumed because he had the navy, he came over there. No.
Because I know Josiah was saying yesterday that they found something, the historians found something about the flowers out over here, something of that nature. Certain leaves. There's certain leaves that are only found over here. So I don't know. I'm not going to, if that's not in here, I'm not.
You got to take Esau's findings with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Okay? A lot of it is crap.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's read on.
That they might keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land.
Go ahead.
And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow passage of the river.
All right.
But the Most High then showed signs for them.
What were the signs? Once again, what were the signs? Aymar.
The signs was the constellation of
The signs that the Most High showed to Northern Kingdom was the constellation of the stars.
Who do you use? What do you use for that?
In 1 Chronicles 12:32, it's Issachar.
Right there you go. Write that down. 1 Chronicles 12 and 32 told you Issachar knew how to observe the times, how to navigate using constellations. All right, they used Issachar for that. And that's why Esau's so mesmerized and captivated by the calendars over here. All right, because they simple as hell, thinking the earth was flat. Stupid nations. Read on.
For the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over.
Held still the flood because there was strong currents, water. So the Most High held this flood still. Go ahead.
For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half.
It took them a year and a half to get over here. Go ahead.
And the same region is called Arsaris.
Meaning another land or newfound land. All right. Alright, so now, when Columbus, he did much studying. He had books, he had a library. He was heavily into religious writing, so the Bible. Alright, I don't have that book either. Now it's not bad as that, but
the movie 1492, he always brings it out. Is it 1492?
Yeah, Paradise. Conquest of Paradise.
Right, when he wanted to persuade the queen to finance his journey over here, he said that in the book, according to the book of Ezra, this is where the Israelites are. That's what he used to persuade them.
Marco Polo said he found earthly paradise off the coast of China. Do you believe this?
I believe in paradise and hell, and I do believe that both can be earthly. Now, let's go through this again. Why do you wish to sail west?
To open a new route to Asia. Asia is the richest kingdom, the land of spices and gold. At the moment, there are only two ways of reaching it. By sea, sailing around the African continent. The journey takes a year. Or by land. But the Turks have closed this route to all Christians. There is a third way. By sailing west across the ocean sea.
The distance is unknown. It's said to be infinite.
Superstition. I believe the Indies are no more than 750 leagues west of the Canary Islands.
How can you be so certain?
The calculations of Toscanelli, Marin de Tir, Esdras.
Esdras is a Jew.
So what's worse?
2 minutes, and already you're a dead man.
For telling the truth?
Yes.
Now I'm going to show it to you. This is the Jewish Encyclopedia.com, because those so-called bastards over there, so-called Jews, know our history. Then we don't. A lot of simple Negroes think that the Native Americans is heathens. But the so-called bastards know that they are not heathens, that they're Israelites. Because it's all personal hatred. There's nothing scriptural with that. Do that.
The whole thing?
Just the top paragraph.
The name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of man. That goes into when never mankind dwelt. That's what they meant when they say far away from the habitation of man.
Because when Columbus came over here, what do you call this place? What's the place that everybody was at called? The old world. Because everybody was there. So it's called the New World, where no one was. Alright, go ahead.
The name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of man, in which the 10 tribes of Israel dwell.
You just read that. Go ahead.
Observing the laws of Moses.
They were observing the laws of Moses. Why? Because they have Bibles over here. Go ahead.
Until the time of the restoration.
Meaning the restoration of all 12 tribes coming back together, which is happening now. Because they brought Judah over here in slavery. Go ahead.
According to 2nd Ezra 13:45.
See that? We just read that. 13:45 called Osiris. Go ahead.
Columbus identified America with this land.
See that? So he understood where he was going. Do not fall for that lie about he got lost or he was in India. That's a lie. That is a lie. Indian comes from the word Indios, meaning savage or slave. That's where the word Indian comes from. So when you are a West Indian, you're calling yourself a Western slave.
Or
East savage. Or East Indian, you are an Eastern savage. They call anyone who is not speaking Latin or Spanish, you are a savage or barbarian to them. So you are an Eastern area, you are an East Indian, Eastern savage. West Indian, you are a Western savage. Okay? North American Indian, you are a North American Indian savage. It's the same thing. Alright? Because the white man thought he was better while all his existence. And he is nothing. Alright? So now, read on. Verse 4. Let's get Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28, verse 49. That's what we want. Nah, read that.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
Read it again.
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far.
So they came from far, because where was Northern Kingdom? Where were they located, Abiel? Speak loud.
In the here in the Western Hemisphere.
That's right, in the Western Hemisphere. And where did the white man come from?
Eastern.
Eastern. That's on the other end of the earth. The other end of the earth. Read again.
The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far.
From far. Europe. Go ahead.
From the end of the earth.
The other end of the earth. Come on.
As swift as the eagle flight.
Because what was their symbol when they came over here?
Eagle.
The eagle. They've been using that for years. Alright? The white man's symbol has always been the eagle. Go ahead.
A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
Because a lot of Hispanics think that they were born speaking Spanish. They were not speaking Spanish on this side of the hemisphere. They were speaking Hebrew. Alright? Now, let's prove that. Read this here. Here to here. The lines are at. I'm going to show you. This is the book from Bartolome de las Casas, a short account of the destruction of the West of the Indies. Alright? This is what Bartolome said about the Spaniards, what they were doing.
In 1513, in an attempt to silence any further protests, the jurist Juan Lopez del...
Let's page Roman numerals is page 24. In Roman numerals, XXIV.
Under what?
Introduction.
In the introduction.
Yeah.
In 1513, in an attempt to silence any further protests, the jurist Juan Lopez del Pasio Rubios, one of the King Ferdinand's ideologues, drew up a document known as the requirement.
The requirement is, okay.
Or requiremento. This began with a history of the world since Adam. It then moved swiftly onto the grant made by the Pope to Castilian crown and the obligation of every Indian to pay homage to the agents of the crown.
That's the thing's about. The requiremento was a document that tells you to pay homage to the King of Spain.
And to obey their orders.
And to follow what they say.
It finished with a gruesome account of what would befall any Indian who refused to obey.
Refused to obey that document. Go ahead.
Every conquistador was to carry a copy of this document with him and to read it in the presence of a notary.
To read it in the presence of a notary. Go ahead.
Before making an attack.
Before attacking, they were given an option. Follow this or we'll destroy you. You know, watch how slick they were.
The facts that the document was in Spanish.
It was in what?
In Spanish.
It was in Spanish. Go ahead.
A language no Indian could then understand it.
I go right back to Deuteronomy 28 and 49.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
Spanish. They cannot speak Spanish. Yeah, does it?
Y'all gotta graphically depict what's going on. You got people roll up on you and they're giving you commands. You know how a brother gets shot down and he said the cops didn't identify themselves, they didn't say it, and that's what was happening to them. People rolled up on them and was giving them commands and they didn't understand it because they were talking to them in Spanish. And what did they speak?
Hebrew.
Okay, so they was like, yo, what are they talking about?
No, watch this. No, watch.
Okay.
Here's one again. The facts. Watch this.
The facts that the document was in Spanish, a language no Indian could then understand, that it made no attempt to explain the complex legal and theological terms.
They didn't explain nothing that was in the document. Go ahead.
In which it was expressed.
In Spanish. Go ahead.
And that it was frequently read at night.
It was read at nighttime.
To sleeping villages.
While they were sleeping. Wow. So they, go ahead.
Or out of earshot of the Indians.
So they were saying, you're going to follow this document. And they were miles away.
Way over there.
So they couldn't even hear it if they were awake. Go ahead.
Okay. Out of earshot of the Indians. Okay. We're disregard.
Disregard, that's it. So now get Deuteronomy 28 verse 50.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 50. A nation of fierce countenance which shall not regard persons of the old, nor show favor to the young.
So they don't show favor to the old or young. Let's see that.
I gotta add something. The same thing that they did back then to them, they do it to us now. I had to go before a judge before, and he's asking me questions. Now, why do you think they tell you to come with legal representation? Why? Because they know you don't know the law. All they're telling you to do is shut up and sit there. You come without legal representation, which is what happened to them. They didn't have legal representation. Whatever they say to you, if you didn't come into that courtroom prepared, you just got to take it. And that's the way it is. Then when you try to speak back, if you're not speaking their lingo because you don't understand it, they hold you in contempt. That's what they kept telling me. Shut up, or I'm going to hold you in contempt. Then the bailiff was whispering in my ear, Edomite lady saying, explaining to me, he's trying to lock you up. Okay, so I just shut up. Okay? She just made it clear. Don't talk back to him, he's trying to lock you up. So that's how these devils are. They're doing the same thing to us today. I ain't got no money for no lawyer. And that's what they wanted. You're going to come before me, you better have a lawyer, or we don't want to hear what you, because I didn't understand what he was saying.
Now read here, page 92, this is page 92, short account. The Pearl Coast, Haria, and Trinidad. Read here, and underline, and then drop down.
The reason the death toll is so high is that in order to maximize profits, the men who finance these slave fleets...
The what?
The men who finance these slave fleets...
What's a slave fleet? There's a little... Right? Slave fleet. Slave fleet.
A fleet is a group of ships.
There you go. So they had those fleets of slave ships.
That's what... Your Nina, your Pinta, and your Santa Maria. Y'all remember that in school? They told us that stupid story? That's what them ships were.
Yep. Slave fleets. So they was in slave ships, Northern Kingdom. So don't fall for these dumb Israelites about them being gooks or whatever, Moab is stupid. That's that Ephraim and Judah envy. That's all it is. That's what it is. Go ahead.
They came on slave fleets with the title Conqueror, Conquistador.
Yeah, conqueror, exactly.
I thought I was saying, y'all gotta understand, these men that y'all encounter, they're not on your level. Okay, you only go back and forth with them either to dismiss them, you try to correct them. If they still try to tell you some foolishness they can't document, dismiss them. I don't go back and forth with nobody. We're on a different. That's why when they speak about the prophets, they call them doctors of the law. You ever speaking with a doctor and he's telling you medical terms and you're like, huh? You don't understand it. You're not on his level. And that's how we are when we out there. These people are not on our level. So you're trying to explain these things to them and they don't want to listen to. I'm saying this because I hate when people come to me telling me, what scripture should I use? Before I give them a scripture, I ask them, did you say this? Did you say that? Did you say this? When they say yes to all three, I say, so to hell with them. And they looking at me like I'm bugging. There is no magic scripture. They're not on your level. The reason the death toll is so high is that in order to maximize profits,
maximize slave profit, go ahead.
The men who finance these slave fleets arrange for the vessels to carry nothing in the way of victuals except a basic minimum for the crew.
So there was enough that was supplied for food and certain men on the ship to provide the food for those men. Go ahead.
So there is hardly any food or water for the poor prisoners, who as a consequence perish from thirst and hunger and consigned to a watery grave.
That sounds a lot like Judah, doesn't it? Because those who died, they threw them right overboard. Same as parallel. The history parallels each other with Judah. Same thing, and Benjamin and Levi parallel. So it's not a game. History bears record that both are Israelites. If you don't believe that, the hell with you. Just die in your sleep.
Exactly. Because sometimes I think we're coming at you hard. But to get to the level where we were, that's why we explained to you guys about putting the time in. Okay? We're talking about before Israel United in Christ reached the level we was wearing out the elders' doorstep. We were going 2 times a week, rain, hail, sleet, or snow, because there's a lot to digest. You're not going to get this from just sitting here one time. Okay? There's a lot of preparation. You literally have to put your life on hold. We had jobs. We would go to work late. We would come out of work. We would go back. And the Most High designed it that way, to see who's real. How many people just looked outside and saw the rain, and you know what came to their head? To hell with the Most High's high holy day. I'm not coming. He's not going to make it convenient for you. Trust me. You're going to have to prove that you want the kingdom. And as I said yesterday, some of you, the only thing you have to do to prove it is just show up. And that's it. That's all the Most High is asking for you. Just show up. Okay. Old and young alike.
What?
Old and young alike.
Yeah, again, Deuteronomy 28 and 50 again.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 50. A nation of fierce countenance.
They were fierce, they were evil, fierce, violence. Go ahead.
Which shall not regard persons of the old, nor show favor to the young.
Read that paragraph again.
Old and young alike.
Just read that in the scriptures. Go ahead.
Men and women simply drop where they stand.
Go ahead.
Then they split up into groups.
No, read from the top.
Okay. Later, the spectacle of these poor creatures disembarked on the island, where they are to be sold.
They got off the ships from not being fed or given drink, because there was not enough for them. Only enough for the sailors. Go ahead.
What's a spectacle? Who knows what the definition of a spectacle is?
Goes like it's a astonishment amongst people.
When you look it up, it's a show. So he uses the word here. He says later the spectacle, the show of these poor creatures.
That's us.
Okay, disembarked on the island. They now approaching the island. I want to dramatize it for you. Okay, they now.
And keep in mind, it's calling them poor creatures.
Right.
Keep that word in mind. Okay. Poor. That's in the scriptures also. Poor creatures. Yeah.
Okay. Later, the spectacle of these poor creatures disembarked on the island. Now they're arriving. They're pulling up. Okay, where they are to be sold is enough to break the heart of anyone with a spark of human feeling. Okay. So when he's witnessing with his eyes, it was heart-wrenching to him. You know how certain things happen, and you'll see us in class and we're speaking about it and we're talking about it. Some people have that passion when the things are good. Some of you people, you see Leroy or whatever get shot and y'all just go home and watch TV like it's nothing. There's some people who it moves them. Okay, so that's what he's saying here. That the show, to watch this thing happen, if you have any ounce of humanity in you, it just broke your heart. That's what he's described.
Also hauling up quite a lot of ammunition for it.
They encircled us like a band of sheep.
I could see that there was commotion amongst the soldiers. And I saw, on looking back, they had their guns in position, ready to fire.
Thomas Tibbles, a white reporter who followed the troops to Wounded Knee, recorded what happened next.
Suddenly I heard a single shot from the direction of the troops. Then 3 or 4, a few more, and immediately a volley. At once came a general rattle of rifle firing, then the Hotchkiss guns.
An awful noise was heard, and I was paralyzed for a time. Then my head cleared, and I saw nearly all the people on the ground, bleeding. My father, my mother, my grandmother, my older brother, and my younger brother were all killed.
And he saw his mother walking toward him. She was walking along, and she was shot. Dewey, she said, keep walking, my son. She said, keep going. She said, I'm going to die. And that was the last time he saw his mother.
The women, as they were fleeing with their babies, were killed together, shot right through. And after most of them had been killed, a cry was made that all those not killed or wounded should come forth, and they would be safe. Little boys came out of their places of refuge, and as soon as they came in sight, a number of soldiers surrounded them and butchered them there. American Horse, Oglala.
The firing continued for an hour or two, wherever a soldier saw a sign of life.
Now, before you it's the same thing happening.
It's the same happening. What's the place? New Orleans. When you was watching on TV, these guys right in the middle of the sea, kids, mothers, fathers. Then you look at it like, what the hell going on here? You understand? To some people, they're moved. They're not right. It's the same thing happened in Haiti, the earthquake. To some people, they're never right again. The thing they're seeing, they're never right.
And don't be confused. This guy was the devil. All right. This guy had slaves also. He didn't agree with the treatment of the slaves. That was all why he wrote the Most High moved His Spirit to write this down so it parallels what the Bible says. He's a devil too. Don't be, oh, he was a good one. No, there are no good ones.
He's no different from that drug dealer in your neighborhood that wants to do a movie later on. Right? Or that rapper that sold drugs, made money, now all of a sudden he's saying, I'm just telling y'all about what I saw. Now that he made his money. Okay? That's why we don't want to hear his stories. Later, the spectacle of these poor creatures disembarked on the island where they are to be sold is enough to break the heart of anyone with a spark of human feeling. They are naked and so weakened by hunger.
Whoa, they are what?
They are naked.
Stop. Why are they naked? What was on their clothes? Pass the mic to Meslo. What was on their clothes?
They had gold weaved into their garments.
That's right. They had gold and diamonds weaved all into their clothes. They stripped them down. Naked. That's what they did to us. Did the same thing to us. Did the same thing on us in West Africa too. We brought that with us. But we had. Did the same thing to both kingdoms. It parallels. Go ahead.
They are naked and so weakened by hunger.
They are naked and so weakened by hunger. Go ahead.
That many, old and young alike,
old and young again, go ahead,
men and women,
and the sisters,
simply dropped where they stand.
They died. They got the ship and dropped dead because they could not survive. They were not nourished. Alright?
Some of y'all can't even make it through one fast. Can you imagine how long they were deprived of food? That as soon as they got off the boat, they just died. Okay, that's why whenever I fast, I get into it mentally. You understand? A lot of times people like to say, well, I'm going to do this so that I could go through the fast. I just do it in a way where I'm not trying to deprive the feeling of being not getting that food.
Lamentations 5 and 12. Lamentations chapter 5 verse 12.
Lamentations chapter 5 verse 12. Princes are hanged up by their hand.
Princes are hanged up like they hung us. We're the princes of God. So we're hanged up. Go ahead.
The faces of the elders were not honored.
They didn't respect the elders either.
And when you read in the same book that he's quoted from, the picture they show you them. Oh, you got it? Okay.
Read it again.
Princes are hanged up by their hands. The faces of the elders were not honored.
Now, you have the picture. This page, should be able to bring it up.
Yeah, you bring it up.
Bring that picture up.
I'll show y'all.
When they line them up.
Father shows him.
Blow it up.
That's it. There you go. See him hanging right there? That's called lynching.
Now,
that's what they're doing.
I want to point out to you. Y'all wondering how they came up with this sketch. This is an actual eyewitness account. This is not something that they just read it. They had who was gonna say?
Yeah, the actual person who made this is
Mike.
His name. The name of the artist that made this woodblock, his name is Theodore de Bry. He's the one that actually sketched everything.
Okay, the book that we're reading is eyewitness accounts. This is what he was trying to explain that he saw. So, don't think just because it's a cartoon drawing that he exaggerated or whatever. As far as the picture, we're not getting a good graphic depiction. This is just an idea, a sketch. Because if you see how they do their faces, you understand? You're just getting like something to look at. But what he saw back then is what he's describing to you. Y'all see men there, woman there. There's some of the other pictures where the woman don't have no breasts. Because guess why? They just chop the breasts off. Because they never saw breasts that big on women.
Yeah, in Brazil, the guy said to his servant, I like her breasts.
Right.
And the servant said, okay. And he came back with a platter with her breasts.
Well, her breasts on it, and the woman with no breasts. That's how disgusting and violent these men were.
Look at the background. It's still killing up there.
Yeah, in the back.
Right. And in the book, oh yeah, you see it. Y'all see the little baby in his hand? Okay? That's why when you read in Psalms, okay, the Most High speaking prophetically, that has to happen to them. It's not because he's just sitting there saying, this is what I want you to do to them. Everything the Most High is saying prophetically to do to them, they did to us. Because some of you quivering your seats, I don't want to do that. I don't want to grab no baby like that. The Most High had to witness it. You people forgot it. So the Most High said, listen, I saw it and I need for it to be done to them. Okay, there's a scripture where the Most High says that they went above what he expected them to do. Okay? That's it. Because I don't know about y'all, but I don't have the heart to just take some baby and just smash it into the wall.
I got the heart.
Let me read the scripture. So they know we ain't making this up.
Please.
This is Psalms 137. Alright, Psalms 137, and we're going to start at 7. Alright? He said, remember, O Lord, the children of Edom, which is who? The conquistadors. Alright? In the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even unto the foundation thereof.
Raise means to destroy it to the foundation. Okay, so what Deacon Malachi is bringing out, he said to remember it. Because a Negro only want to remember the scores from the basketball game last night. The date New Jordans dropped. The real men of the Most High, what does it say? Read it again, Malachi.
Remember.
He said to remember this stuff. Go on.
Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof.
Destroy it to the ground. Read on.
O daughter of Babylon,
which is America. Read on.
Who are to be destroyed.
Prophetically, America has to be destroyed for what they said they wanted to do to Jerusalem. Read on.
Happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us.
So let's start with the Most High first. He had to keep that vision in his head that y'all haven't seen. Y'all only see it on in a cartoon. He says, happy it's going to be to do this back to them.
Happy shall he be happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones.
That's why that's documented there. Because some of you are going to say, why do we have to do that? I don't want to do it. That's not fair. Just let them go. Just give us the kingdom. That's it.
No. I want to enjoy every part of it.
I got one more scripture I want to read real quick, because you see what the Spaniard is doing, right? He's smashing the baby head against the wall. Alright, we just read in Psalm that it said, happy shall he be that taketh thy little ones, meaning the Edomites' little ones, and dasheth them against the stones, right? If you look right there, they're dashing the Israelites, alright? The conquistadors dashing them against the stone right there, killing the baby like that. This is what the Most High said in Obadiah concerning Edom again. But it goes into all nations. He say, for the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathens. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall be upon thy own head. Meaning everything they did to us we gonna do it back to them.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay, and not by our choice. Yep. This is the same way the Most High wants us to raise up and find who we are, find out who we are, repent and come back to Him. This is a part of the process.
Yes, right.
This is for His satisfaction. That's why it's going to be done. Okay, that's why He wants people with a willing heart, willing spirit, willing mind. He's not going to twist your arm to do it. Y'all got to get in tune with what the Most High wants. And if y'all can't do it, leave. Just leave.
Wasting time.
You're just wasting your time, man.
Now read page, Lamentations 5, verse 13.
Lamentations chapter 5, verse 13. They took the young men to grind, and the children fell under the wood. The elders have ceased from the gate.
That's it. Almost 13. Now read page 74.
This is to go into their fierce countenance. Okay? It was in this kingdom, or in one of the provinces of...
So this is page 74.
Page 74.
Of the kingdom of Yucatan.
It was in this kingdom, or in one of the provinces of New Spain, that a Spaniard who was out hunting deer or rabbits realized that his dogs were hungry, and not finding anything they could hunt, took a little boy from his mother, cut his arms and his legs into chunks with his knife, and distributed them among his dogs. Once they had eaten up these steaks, he threw the rest of the carcass on the ground, for them to fight over.
Saw the mother.
That's it?
I don't know why you didn't hide.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Picture right there. See a picture?
Alright? So that's why they don't want Negroes to read. This stuff is well documented.
If you look to your right, the woman hanging, she hung herself and then hung her baby on her leg, and the monk is baptizing her.
That's what it's saying.
And the white man is baptizing the dead baby hanging from her leg. I guess so they can go to heaven after that.
Alright, to see what Jesus.
I gotta get the next sentence. It says, these examples should suffice to give some idea. That's what I said before. Your minds ain't even reaching the magnitude of evil that was in this man's heart. Okay, and until you get there, you're not gonna understand where you're going. You're just gonna be walking around like them stupid Christians talking about forgiveness. Forgive, let's just forgive. These examples should suffice to give some idea of the brutality of the Spanish throughout this territory, of how far God has given them over to a reprobate mind.
He used that against his own people.
He's saying that what he saw them doing, it just didn't make no. When you reprobate, it's just like we see certain of y'all in sin, and we asking each other, yo, what's wrong with this guy? The Most High took understanding from him. Are you stupid? Do you know what's going to happen to you if you continued on this path? So that's what he's saying about these people. That's how brutal the violence was. That he says something got to be wrong with their mind to take things this far. Because where Malachi was reading in Obadiah, it says, should they not have could they have left something? Should they not have stolen till they had enough? But their mind was, no. Butcher, chop the babies up, cut their heads off, chop the woman's breast up. They were sitting down thinking how despicable they could be as a people.
Yeah, there's also a scripture who go and say that they go exceeding what I put in. There's also a scripture.
Okay? They went above.
Yep. Between four. About the young men to grind. Here and here.
This goes into Lamentations 5 and 13 about young men to grind.
And they discharge a duty by sending the men down the mines.
Sending men down the mines. Go ahead.
Where working conditions were appalling. To dig for gold and putting the women to labor in the fields on their master's estate.
And the women. Go ahead.
To till the soil and raise the crops.
That's called colonies. They didn't call them plantations over here. They called them colonies over here, rather than plantations. It's the same thing. Go ahead.
It says properly a task only for the toughest and strongest of men. So he's letting you know no average man could just come and do what they were asking them to do. Okay? For example, they were made to carry burdens of 3 and 4 arrobas.
Arrobas. I'm not sure what that means. Who knows what that means?
Arrobas. A-R-R-O-B-A-S. Look it up.
Arrobas is like a barrel. Like a big barrel.
Okay, there you go.
So they're carrying 3 or 4 of them, they're saying. That's why he said that the stuff they was doing, the average man couldn't do that. Like a bodybuilder in the gym. He goes and he pushed that 400 pounds up. The average man cannot do it. But they said, go and pick those 400 pounds up. Y'all understand now? That's what he's saying. The average man couldn't do what they expected them to do. For example, they were made to carry burdens, 3 or 4 arrobas, for the distance of up to 100 or even 200 leagues. They were forced to carry their Christian masters in hammocks. That's why y'all watching the movies, you'll see them just walking around with them. The master don't feel like walking, he'll say, you nigga, get up and pick me up and carry me where I gotta go. I don't want to walk no more.
Yep. That's it.
And were forced to carry their Christian masters. Christian, they supposed to be godly people with the title Christian. And were forced to carry their Christian masters in hammocks, which are like nets slung from the shoulders of their bearers. In short, they were treated as beasts of burden and developed huge sores on their shoulders and back, as happens with animals made to carry excessive loads. So where they were holding it, they didn't care how heavy it was. Some of you can't carry your bags from the supermarket. They had to carry it for miles, and they didn't care. It was to the point where sores were developing on their back. He said that they were like animals.
Yeah, page 68.
I don't.
Yeah.
An arroba is 32 pounds. So they had to carry 3.5 of that is 112 pounds for whatever the distance.
The leagues.
Okay. 3 times 32 is how much? 96. Right?
Well, they said 3.5.
3 to 4.
3 to 4.
3 to 4.
Yeah, so basically 125 pounds they would have to carry. All that weight.
Some of you can't even curl 20 pounds. Okay? For you to be able to pick up that weight, that comes from years of, or at least months of training. For you to get some definition, then you can curl, like, if you're lucky, 75 pounds.
And it said men and women.
Okay, men and women.
They ain't discriminate. Both of y'all gonna
I'm glad you put the number out there.
A league. 1 league is close to 3.5 miles.
Wow. So that's 60 city blocks.
200 leagues?
60 city. 1 mile is 20 city blocks.
A league is used to measure usually a water depth.
Okay.
Page 68.
Page 68. He led away thousands in chains.
When what?
He led away thousands in chains.
Y'all in yokes of iron too. Go ahead.
Burdening women who had recently given birth.
And women who just had babies also. They didn't get no chance to get a break after they had kids. Go ahead.
With his baggage and that of his wicked companions. So that what with the huge loads they had to carry and hunger they were forced to endure, they could no longer carry their children as well.
They couldn't carry their kid. They had to carry their weight and their kids at the same time. Go ahead. They just had
were forced to leave them by the side of the road where they perished in huge numbers. So. This woman just finished giving birth to the child, and they're like, woman, get up. You going and you're going to go do what? And if you can't carry a newborn child, you're not going to get days of bed rest. Okay? If you can't carry a newborn child, leave it right there to die. These people are, animals don't act like this. Like the man said, their mind is incomprehensible. You can't comprehend what's going on in their mind. That's why you always hear me say, it is not my job to figure out the wicked. I just know that they exist, and that's good enough for me.
Deuteronomy 28. That's it. Deuteronomy 28 verse 51.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 51. And ye shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave there either corn, wine, or oil, the increase of thy kind, or flocks of thy sheep, until ye have destroyed thee.
Hear it again.
And ye shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave thee either corn, wine, or oil, or increase of thy kind, or flocks of thy sheep, until ye have destroyed thee. So them Africans that y'all make fun of who didn't have any food, y'all see flies around them, that's how y'all turn when they took everything away from you. Okay, there was nothing to eat, nothing. They took everything. They made sure that when they left you with nothing. That's why I brought that up in Obadiah. When they attacked, they were looking to see what could they utilize. We're not leaving you in nothing so you can rebuild. Okay, that's why it says we will destroy it afterwards.
That's what they're doing in slavery. And I meet a white man at Home Depot. He's saying that how the hell you gonna claim that you set these men free, but they didn't have nothing to hold on to?
Exactly.
Tell me you gonna turn back and work for them. Then when you turn back and work for them, they always collect 90% and give you 10%. You understand? So it's like a win or lose thing. You understand? Regardless, you lose. You understand? Y'all don't know how demonic this man is. Y'all don't know how wicked this man is. That's why that I say what I said. Because the day that Most High put their spirit on me to do his will, I'm not going to hold nothing back for this man. I tell you straight.
Page 98.
Page 98.
It's on page 98 of the Kingdom of Venezuela.
During this period, the poor people patiently bore the many indignities and intolerable burdens which the European presence imposed upon them.
Slavery, yeah.
For one of these newcomers will wolf down in one day enough food and drink to support a local family of 10 for a whole month.
See that? So 1 ate for a family of 10. One Spaniard ate enough food for a family of 10
for a whole month.
For a month. So they ate them out of house and home, the Spaniards. House and home. That's it?
Read all the way down or jump to the next chapter?
That's it. That's it. Get Lamentations 5 and 4 to 6.
Lamentations chapter 5 verse 4. We have drunken our water for money. Our wood is sold unto us. Our necks are under persecution. We labor and have no rest.
You just read all that. Go ahead.
We have given the hand to the Egyptians and to the Assyrians to be satisfied with bread.
See that? That goes back to, let's get Deuteronomy 28 verse 47 and 48. Yeah. That's what that goes with. Because we have drunken our wood, drunken our water for money, our wood is sold unto us.
Which is right now. Y'all got a house, y'all got to pay a water bill. Okay, water that's ours. They're saying we're going to charge you for it, we're going to sell you anything. and before they used to make a joke, they're going to charge us for air. Y'all remember when you could get air in your tire for 25 cents? It's $2 now. It was free before. At one time it was free. Okay, I went someplace, it was $2 for air. And it cuts off real quick. You got to use it fast.
You're on 28 what? 47, 48.
Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of the heart for the abundance of all things.
Because the northern kingdom started going off over here in this side of the world. They started going to madness and into sin. So they stopped serving the Lord, their God, that they were supposed to, that they said they would in 2 Ezra 13. Go ahead.
For the abundance of all things.
This is the world. Go ahead.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things.
Wood, water, food, shelter, all the above. Go ahead. Education. Go ahead.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
That also, they had chains in their neck. We read that earlier. Go ahead.
Until he have destroyed thee.
Now you're Catholics and Christians now. Hispanics and Latin Americans now. Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Venezuelans, you are lost. Lost out your mind.
This is going into right now, today on this very same day. I'm going to start with 47 again. It says, because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness. As I said before, some brothers, when it comes time to do something for the Lord, you can see it in their face. It's like twisting their arm. They don't want to do it. There's certain brothers who you ask and they jump right away. Certain sisters you ask, they're volunteering, they're ready. What do you want me to do? There's other people who you can see, I can see it in their face. They're looking at me like, why is this nigga asking me? Okay? Y'all don't see it because that joy is not there. There's a lot of times when there's things that I have to do for the body that it interferes with my life. But I'm joyous in the fact that one thing, the Most High explained to me who I am. I know that there's a future. I know I have a destiny. So that's where I get my joy. That's where I get my motivation from. So I will never ever, I don't want to be alone. And we know the Most High search your heart and say, you knew when they asked you to do that. You had an attitude. You was mad. You didn't want to do it. Okay? You knew you wanted to go do this or watch TV or stay home and sleep. You didn't want to do it. Because the Most High can read your heart. Y'all can front in front of us, but the Most High can read your heart. He knows who, when the task was given unto you, you have to ponder on it for a minute. Damn, now I can't go to the movies. What am I going to say to her? Okay, that's what he's saying here about that joyfulness. The Most High looked and said, these people should be joyful that I chose them. And I have a future for them, and I have things promised to them. And some of y'all, that joy is not in your heart.
Yeah, and then you can go deep, Deacons Aesop. You go even though when we do have the feast, when we do have the Sabbath, you see that brother spirit fail. You understand? The unity. You understand? Other people are supposed to come here and see the unity of the brotherhood we have is untouched. But even though among us, you understand, we will ask each other to do things. We go, you understand, you don't want to help the brother. You know brother decision. You know what the brother going through. You understand? Then even though we end God feast, the brother will stay home instead of come and congregate with us. You understand? Because I just say, me in my house, that my wife can tell you. Sometimes she get angry. Brothers, I go extra mile if I can help a brother. You understand? I don't care about myself. I'm already in this captivity. There's nothing I can do. But if I can go extra mile to help a brother, I'll do just that. Then we as the deacons here, that's our job. You understand? Then to show you the perfect example, we have to live it. You understand? That's why a lot of brothers don't understand. That's why deacons Aesop, because sometimes you depend on the brother. You understand? It's just perfect example. And the Sabbath, but anytime you give me the honor to a prayer. It's no way during the week I'm going to do something foolish because I care about the body. You understand? I said, damn, if I'm in the mix of sin, most are not going to hear their prayer to up. You understand? It's the same thing all y'all have to think because we count on you. So most I can increase this body, bring it to the next level. But some of y'all still in the mix of sin, still in the wickedness, thinking that it's a self-will thing. It's not a self-will thing. It's a nation thing. You understand?
Lamentations 5 and 2.
Lamentations chapter 5 verse 2. Our inheritance is turned to strangers, our houses to aliens.
So the illegal aliens is who? The white man. That's the alien. Alright? The illegal alien. Not the so-called Mexicans. Alright? They're not no damn aliens, man. That's their land. Arizona is their land. Ohio is our land.
You understand? They're making a green card. That's what he's pointed out. They're making you get a green card. They're documenting you. You're an alien on your own land. That's mind-boggling, bro.
Psalms 49. Psalm 49. Illegal aliens, and they were here first. That make no damn sense. That's like I come into Abiel's house, shoot his family up, lock him in the bathroom, and go, you need a green card to come in the living room. Ain't no damn sense. That's confusion. That's his house.
Yep. Oh.
Abiel.
Speaking about that, about houses.
There was a brother that I was talking to about that concerning the house thing. I told him if someone came into your house and they pushed your family into the closet and they say you eat, you live here, you do your mess in here, that's what you do. How would you feel about that? In his ignorance, he goes, well, at least we have the closet. So
that's why I said the yokes are bound upon your neck until he had destroyed thee. That's what that is. Yes, right. Yokes are off, you're just stupid now.
What he's saying is he's content with nothing.
That's right.
Now that I know what the Most High has in store for us, I'll never be satisfied. Never. Until it has been brought forth. Until it's been brought. Like I tell you, some things I don't do now because I'm so worried about jeopardizing my entry into the kingdom that the Most High has promised us. Some of y'all don't care. So it's nothing for you to disregard what the Most High says. Do this, do that. Y'all don't care. Y'all not looking at your future. And that's how that brother was. At least we could smoke blunts and watch TV and we got a job and we could play videos. That's your life. That's it.
And then the whole thing is
verse 10.
Yeah, the whole thing is this: you don't see yourself as no gods. You see yourself just like men. Men thought, men thinking. You see yourself just like regular men. If you see yourself as God, you're gonna act like gods. But you have not comprehended that yet.
Verse 10.
For he seeth that wise men die.
Wise men die, go ahead.
Likewise the fool and the brutish person perish.
White man, the foolish and brutish person, they die too, go ahead.
And leave their wealth to others.
Yeah, like the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Bilderbergs, they leave their wealth to others. The Hiltons. Go ahead.
Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever.
White man thinks this house is going to last forever. America's going to last forever. Go ahead.
And their dwelling places to all generations.
Go ahead.
They call their lands after their own name.
Like America Vespucci, which is where America comes from. Africa. Leo Scipius Africanus. Alright, they do those. Colombia, after Columbus. San Juan, Puerto Rico. He named that place also. Columbus named Puerto Rico. The capital of Puerto Rico is San Juan. He named it that. Ponce de Leon named Florida, meaning flowers. He saw how beautiful the flowers. After he killed the Native Americans, wow, there's some nice flowers. Look at the flowers. After he killed a baby, named it Florida. Yeah, read it again.
Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own name.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, man being in honor abideth not.
These men are in honor. Columbus is in honor. But he's dead. Go ahead. And Scipius Africanus is in honor. He's dead. Americus Vespucci, he's dead, but they were held in honor for discovering land that they stole. Discovering an inhabited land they stole. Go ahead.
This is heavy. This is heavy what he's bringing out here. It says, nevertheless, with all this wickedness they're doing, man being in honor abideth not. He is like the beast that perished.
He's dead, yet he receives honor anyway. Go ahead.
This their way is their folly. Yet their posterity approve their saying, Salah.
What does that posterity mean?
Their children.
Their kids. Because their kids honor Columbus. The Italians are over there right now, tomorrow. When we went around saying, yeah, Columbus, that's their babies. So their posterity approves what he's saying here. That they hold them in honor, and they're dead. Get a liar.
Where's Mike?
The Northern Kingdom is so stupid that they're cheering on Columbus and whatnot. You're cheering on the same man that did this to your forefathers.
Yep. Job 24 verse 8. Job 24 verse 8.
Job 24 verse 8. They are wet with showers.
No, read verse 7. Read verse 7.
Job 24 verse 7. They cause the naked to lodge without clothing.
But they're naked, got the ships. Go ahead.
That they have no covering in the cold.
They have no covering. They had to rely on the white man in one of all things for clothes. Go ahead.
They are wet with the showers of the mountains and embrace the rock for want of shelter.
A lot of them fled into caves. All right, go ahead.
They pluck the fatherless from the breast and take a pledge of the poor.
They pluck the fatherless from the breast. Like, and read the book in here, once again, there was a Spaniard.
As I said before, we want to dramatize and give you a graphic depiction of what's been done here. Because you people don't see them for the evil that they are. You understand? And your mind literally has to come to that place where there has to be a balance. I'm not saying be like them idiotic Israelites that you're walking around angry and starting trouble with them to the point where you're going to get locked up or you're going to lay hands on them. Okay? That is not your position. That is not your posture. The Most High is not telling any of us in this room to do anything. Okay? When all is said and done, who allowed this to happen to us? That's it. Okay? So the Most High is just letting you know, because some of you have forgotten what happened to us as a people. Okay? And that's why when you read the scriptures, the Most High gets his point across through death and bloodshed.
Almost done.
This is page 15
of Española. All right.
They forced their way into native settlements, slaughtering everyone they found there, including small children, old men, pregnant women, and even women who had just given birth. Notice they keep stressing that. Okay, because usually we see the woman, we just heard she had the baby, we want to, okay, let her get off her feet. She just had the baby, carried the baby 9 months. It says, even women who had just given birth, they hacked them to pieces, slicing open their bellies with their swords.